Hello, what is up you guys? Benji here from TeachFrog, and today we're going to be talking about a theme that I think a lot of people do struggle with, is the downsides to online teaching. Now, this is going to encompass basically a broad range of different companies, and I've kind of made a video that applies to most companies in general. So this is going to be kind of like a broad overview into the downsides of online teaching. But before we can continue, guys, as always, if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you loved it, please subscribe down below for more videos. Okay, so the first downside that I'm going to go through is the pay. Now, in general, the pay can be amazing, especially with some companies who offer like massive bonuses. However, if you're working as a kind of part-time teacher, sometimes you might not really get that many classes. So, you know, if for example, it's like Chinese New Year or the summer holidays or something, you are probably going to see a dip in classes, and there's literally nothing anyone can do about that. So it's not like kind of like regular jobs, where like, you know, you get holiday pay, things like that. You know, if you're a teacher, like in a physical school, you'll still be getting paid like during the summer holidays, but obviously with online teaching, it's wholly dependent on how many students you get, and that can really affect your pay. So your pay can sometimes fluctuate from like, I don't know, $1,700 a month to, you know, if it's the summer break, it could go down to maybe, you know, $1,000 a month. It really does depend on how many students you're getting, the circumstances, and yeah. So that is a really good thing to keep in mind, just if you're thinking about going into teaching either full-time or even part-time. The second thing I want to talk about is not getting your contract renewed. Now, this can be an actual big problem with teachers. I've actually spoken to teachers that have actually had their contracts not renewed, even though they might have been with a company for like 3 years, 5 years. Sometimes the company will just not renew your contract, and sometimes they don't even give you a reason, and that is probably the worst thing about it. They don't give you a reason, they just say, okay, sorry, like, we don't require your services anymore. So yeah, that can kind of suck and can be really disheartening as well, not to have like a solid reason. So it feels like there can sometimes be like not a lot of security when it comes to online teaching. So that's something you have to kind of always be on the lookout for, you know, is, do I see a future with this company? Do you think this company actually do love me? Or are they just going to not renew my contract and not say anything? So that is something to keep in mind. The third thing I want to talk to you about is, of course, difficult students. Now, in any job that you get, you're gonna have difficult students. You're gonna have difficult people that you work with. That's just life, okay? So this isn't necessarily exclusive to online teaching, but it's worth mentioning. So sometimes you can be teaching a class, and say, for example, the student, especially with younger student, is in a really bad mood, or in a really like low mood, and you have to really pick up that energy. Sometimes it can be quite draining. You know, it can be difficult to kind of work with that when you're trying to be peppy and upbeat and you're trying to teach them and they're just like a zombie, like they're like blank-eyed. So that can be quite disconcerting. Also, I know with some companies, the student will sometimes like blame the teacher for having technical problems. And the student will write to the company or something and be like, hey, this teacher is awful, or I don't like this teacher, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it makes you look really bad. Even though it can be something completely beyond your control, even if the student has a bad connection, they sometimes blame that on the teacher, which can sometimes be really disheartening. You know, if you're putting your all into a lesson and then a student turns around and says, oh, I hated that lesson. It's like, great. But, you know, it happens to everyone, so don't be discouraged. The fourth and final thing I want to talk about is internet connection. Now, there are things that happen in life which mean your internet does sometimes get completely bumped off. Okay, and there's absolutely that, maybe, I don't know, there's like a freak hurricane or something, I don't know, something happens and your internet just cuts out. You then get penalties. In a lot of companies, they will actually give you a penalty. If you're completely freelance, then you will get angry students, basically. Students that have missed their lesson and they're really fed up about it. And, you know, that can damage your reputation, even if it's something like completely on your control. That's just kind of what happens, basically. So always, like, I guess, make sure you have a stable connection, but you can sometimes, you don't decide that. But yeah, anyway, short video for you guys today, but I hope you got something out of it. And as always, if you liked this video, please give it a huge thumbs up. And if you loved it, please subscribe down below for more videos. Cheers, guys. Mwah.